Well, when asked to testify, I had my hesitations, but then I knew that with all that God had done for me, that this was the very least I could give to Him. My life as a Christian started when I was 16 years old in 1966, and it was the last young people's meeting of the camp, and I was standing outside in the back, and I was asked by a friend to come down, and the Lord touched me, told me it was time for me to get right. Came down to this altar here, and the Lord touched my heart. He saved my soul. Later on at our downtown church on 6th and Burnside, He gave me the sanctification. And then over in the West Chapel, just west of this tabernacle, He filled me with the Holy Spirit. And for about 3 years, I was here in the United States. And in 1969, I got a notice that they wanted to draft me. Didn't have a whole lot of say in it. So I found myself downtown Portland, and they give me a physical. They didn't really have to look too hard. They just said, "You're in," and I was 1A. And that very day, they shipped me off to Fort Lewis, Washington. Fort Lewis was where I took my basic training and advanced infantry training. I was in the infantry. And they told me at that time that you just settle in and understand this, that all this training is for you to go to Vietnam, and you were going to fight. And so anyway, after advanced infantry training, I was sent home for about 30 days, shipped off to California, and then from Oakland Air Force Base, I headed to Vietnam. I don't remember how long the trip, but it was a long time, probably 24 hours or so. And when I got into Vietnam, they took me in a reception center. It was November, Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving was not really the happiest time of my life at that point in time. And later on, I was put into my unit. It was leg infantry. Our job was to go out into the jungles and fight VC. And needless to say, it was not a pretty sight. It's not easy to talk about. It's certainly a whole lot easier for me to write it down, and which I have done. From the leg infantry, the unit was transferred out. The politicians decided the Big Red One, which was who I was with, was going to be sent back to the United States. Well, in their infinite wisdom, they decided to transfer me to a different unit. They sent the name back. So I got to stay there for the next 9 months. And in this mech unit, we went out, did basically the same thing, ambush patrols at night, all kinds of things. And there was a lot of, there was plenty of battles, more than I care to even think about. But the problem is, you never stop thinking about it. The Lord, one morning, I was to be on guard duty. We wheeled into a fire base camp, and in that fire base camp, you were kind of surrounded with a berm and bunkers around, and it was reasonably safe in there. And so we went in there, and that next morning, I was to be on guard duty. And it was early morning, I think somewhere around 5 o'clock, and the guard before me woke me up. And I remember getting up, getting my gear, and heading down over to where I was to go. And I went by the mess hall. They had breakfast was cooked, so I grabbed a plate of food and I went up to the bunker on guard duty, and I sat there. And as I ate, I looked out over the horizon. It was a beautiful blue, an orange tint to it, and I began to listen, and I couldn't hear anything. There was no artillery sound, there was no gunfire, there was nothing. It was absolutely peaceful and quiet. And I remember as I looked out at the horizon how I thanked the Lord for Him to be able to pass down from Him to me a peace in all that chaos and killing that was going on. And He once again made me feel human. There was a lot more to come, a lot more trials, ambushes that we were on, that we blew. We killed people. We were shot at. We were ambushed. I could go on and on. It was a terrible time. But the Lord brought me back here. And when I got back here, I remember how good I felt when I knelt down at the altar. And I asked God for forgiveness. I'm sorry, but it really, when I think of the good God has done in my life, oh, I didn't want to cry. But He's been so good to me. And He gave me a mom to pray. And it was her prayers, I know, brought me through all this. I'm here to serve the Lord for the rest of my life. I'll give Him everything I've got.